My dearest butt lovers. I only read trash here on this YouTube channel, and this week is no exception. But this time, we have vintage trash. A special kind of trash. To those of you who voted in the community tab, you must be very confused. You must be thinking to yourself, but we made a decision. Why did you read both? Stay tuned. There is no way you can guess what has transpired this week. Let's start with the one you chose. See, voting really does matter. Let me read you a sentence from 1984's The Blackmailed Bridegroom. This is on page 1. The only person in evidence who seemed not to share in the air of general bonhomie, bonhomie. Apparently bonhomie means cheerful, friendliness. It's worth mentioning that I never learned any new words from the previous book reports, and that is a major red flag for me. I am not here to learn. I wrote on this post-it note, I understand the use of flowery language to help a period piece, but surely there were better words for the sentence I'm about to read to you. He stepped back a pace and bowed slightly as he returned her look for a pregnant instant. But you know what I love even more? This is one sentence. Listen carefully. While responding wholeheartedly to the jocularity of his guests, the landlord managed to keep one eye on the boy, who had donned a dirty cap unearthed from the vicinity of the hearth and was struggling to afford himself some increased protection from the elements by forcing as many of the buttons on his ragged coat as possible into their holes, a procedure complicated by the undersized nature of the garment, which had never meant to cover a gangly adolescent. So I turned to my boyfriend and I'm like, what the fuck are they saying? You know what they said?
Kid was wearing a bad jacket.
That whole sentence was saying that.
I was too stunned to speak.
This author must be desperately trying to meet a word count or something, because there's no way in hell that needed to be done. Apparently this author was educated at Harvard and Brown. Did they teach no classes on getting to the damn point? Believe it or not, the run-on, sprint-on sentences isn't the real red flag here. The real red flag is the strong foundation they have for this romance. Ooh, it's just so passionate. You want to hear a little about it? So this dude, Adam Glenville, is allegedly responsible for April's father and brother dying. April blackmails him for money, and when he hears of this, he threatens to kill her, which is looking really, really good for his case. Yeah, you don't seem like the type of guy to kill two people.
Meanwhile, you're threatening this girl's life.
I don't know how I missed mentioning this, but the way she blackmails him for money is being like, marry me so I can have a steady income. I present to you the only line that made me laugh. He must have been mad to agree to a marriage with that female icicle. I'm Mrs. Snow Miser, your ass is grass. I'm April, went over to the bank to take your cash. Here's where I start to lose my head a little bit. Another French word just sprinkled in this book, like I'm supposed to take 5 language courses to understand what the fuck this book is saying. When the affair with the Wendovers, Pere et Fils, had blown up in his face. Thank God for Google, which I have to consult every 3 seconds while reading this.
We have technology.
All right, Google Translate, do your magic. Pere et fils nuts. At this point in the book, April is going through her options, and she's like, you know what, I thought this would be good revenge, but I'm gonna be stuck with my dad and brother's murderer? She reviews the only other option for marriage she has, which is an old man called Mr. Lineley, who has been very kind to her family. She then says this: the least attractive option would be marriage with the man responsible for the deaths of her father and brother. Or would that necessarily be worse than marriage with the man she liked but shrank from? I don't know what's worse, marrying an old uggo over here, or this hottie that just so happened to kill most of my family. A relatable struggle, to be sure. We love a romance book that you can really insert yourself in. Ooh, better. I feel like there could have been better wording. She goes on to describe their hands. You know, your top priority when you're looking for a husband. The uncared for nature of his pudgy hands with the dirty nails. She's talking about, like, the nice old guy in that one. The hated Lord Glenville, on the other hand, hand pun, had well-shaped hands and immaculate nails. I mean, even though he has blood on his hands, they look pretty good otherwise, am I right, ladies? And immaculate nails, huh? What'd he get, French tips? I'll Marie Antoine bet he did. Chapter 4 begins with a needed 6-hour time jump because the last chapter read like a horror. This is before I knew the whole book would read like a horror. Like, I really thought there'd be a turnaround. Her new husband, yes, they're already married, no time was spared, is very controlling and scary to the point that skipping the wedding entirely was a relief. I'm just gonna say it, I hate this Rob Lowe-looking asshole. I guess now would be a good time to explain how April's brother and father died. April's father was addicted to gambling, and Adam won many games against him, leading to her father losing all of his money and deciding, by we're world. And when her brother called Adam out on this and challenged him to a duel, he said he couldn't say no, which he totally could have. Like, you totally could have. You already killed one person. But he stabs him and he dies. All of these deaths could have been avoided if these three men didn't have an ego the size of this author's vocabulary. Page 64, my brain's going, uh-oh, I don't know how I'm gonna read the rest of this. I have the astute observation. Okay, I feel like the little blurb description in the beginning that says, the first to fall in love loses, must be wrong, because not only has he forced April into a new look, insulting her every chance he gets. I'm not even joking, this is how the scene went.
My dear bride, your forehead's big and your chin is pointy. Nothing a good haircut couldn't fix. Because I'll be damned if I'm seen with an ugly wife.
How romantic. But he's fully with someone else. In chapter 5, we meet Molly, who Adam kisses and makes love to. I hate to say it, but it's beyond enemies to lovers, friends. It's Stockholm is where the heart is. The pun was staring me right in the face, but it's nothing to fucking joke about. I read another 40 pages, and there are no jokes going through my head, just a high level of anxiety. So I read some reviews. Basically, this book ends, and I skim through the scenes just to see if people are exaggerating. They're not. The butler tries to poison Adam, and he thinks that April did it, so to get back at her, he violates her body in a way I don't even feel comfortable talking about. And the shit icing on top of the shit cake is that she falls in love with him after that.
Nice run!
In the wise words of Melania from Goodreads, what the ... did I read? This was not a love story. Listen, I get that you guys voted in the poll, but sometimes the customer is not always right. Fuck that! Will a touch of Texas touch my heart and save this video? Surely it'll be less problematic, right? She didn't have to worry about her son being threatened by gang members or her apartment being robbed. Chicago was a zillion miles away as far as she was concerned, and a zillion miles was about far enough. Jesus, dude! Violence? Crime? In my town? Not only is she tempting fate, but she's calling out a city by name. Chicago away. Here's the setup. Marina is a single mom to her son John, and Clint is the principal. And he's kind of fine based on what everyone's saying. Clint informs Marina that her son's been getting into trouble. Here's a quote. She had no desire to sit behind the cowboy's desk again anytime soon. He did what?
John was involved in a food fight.
Love that hard cut. It's something I could picture in like a TV show or movie. So then Clint went to Marina's law office and she turned when he growled. Ew. That's how he greeted her? Oh shit, she's really pretty, but I can't make any moves on her. She's the mother of one of my students. What do I do? What do I do? What the hell was that? I swear though, the worst part is, this growling is very common in yeehaw romance novels. Shaw's jaw muscles eased up enough for him to bare his teeth. He managed a growl. An honest to goodness, scary as shit growl. I wrote down on this post-it note, Shaw growled out of genuine anger, lol, what a freak. But I actually think in this context it meant he was clearing his throat. Why would you phrase it growl if that's the case? So the name of where they are in Wisconsin is called Tyler, but every single time the characters refer to Tyler, without fail, even after 240 pages of this, I always think they're talking about somebody. Tyler seemed safe, he concluded. Yes, she repeated, Tyler seemed safe.
Who the fuck is Tyler and why do we care so much about their safety?
Let's just call New York City Paul from now on. So as most of these love stories go, other than the blackmailed bridegroom, which we will never talk about again, Clint was attracted to Marina right away. Aww. But he says, it was a stupid idea to date a parent. It would be better to keep his mind on fishing. Much better. He took his foot off the gas and eyed the building ahead on the right. The Dairy King. He's at Dairy King looking for a Dairy Queen. So John caught his principal having ice cream with his mom, and his other classmates that were around, not knowing that that was John's mom, was like, who's the babe our principal is with? Growing up to be a bunch of young gravies for real, I finally have some good news. The precious pupper on the cover appears on page 41. Clint and Marina find her as a stray and they name her Tex, short for Texas. But as silly as that is, I'm really glad they didn't settle on their first name, which I feel uncomfortable even saying. How do I put this? Do you know how you can name a goldfish Goldie? So they were about to do something similar to that, but do you see the color of the dog? Back in the 90s, white people had no self-awareness. They still don't. They said dumb shit without even realizing it.
Nice nasal scoop, asshole.
Other than that last thing I just told you about, these books have such a way with words. He had a soft spot for dogs, kids, and women with great legs.
In what order, Clint?
Because when all is said and done, if you had to choose to get rid of one of them, we know you'd be saying, fuck those kids! Bye-bye! Cause let's be real, Clint. Bitches are at the top of your priorities. Marina's son keeps calling their new dog Idiot, which reminds me of that song from Annie. Athena, you don't have to sing it though. Dumb dog, why are you following me? You know what they say, you can take the girl out of the theater, but you can't take the Texas out of the man. Wait, what? Something else kind of fun and quirky about this book. Every time Clint says anything, he always drawls it. Every time. He never just exclaims, questions, or says it. He drawls. Which I think that word sounds disgusting. It sounds too much like drools for me. Hey Clint, thanks for taking me out to ice cream yesterday. That joke sucked, and now I'm gonna be wet for the rest of this video. Which is kind of nice, because neither of these books made me wet. Too far? I don't know. Here's another quote to make you squirm. This is Marina, a mother, talking about meeting her son's date. Maybe it was time she met Christy and learned what the attraction was. Mother-son dynamics like this weird me out. What does she look like? Would I approve? Is she prettier than me? It's your son. Marina's boss, Amanda, talks about how she doesn't want kids but feels guilty because she feels like she should. And the other women assure her that she has a choice. Do you know what that means? It passes the Bechdel test. I mean, that sweet moment between ladies lasted for 3 seconds before Clint was brought up again, but it's still more than I thought. Let me have this. On page 116, he would rather talk about wine, fish, or pregnant dogs.
In what order, Clint?
Oh, and by the way, the dog is pregnant. Speaking of dogs pregnant with knowledge, Martha Speaks video essay next week. You do not want to miss that one. In previous Yeehaw romance novels, I have ranted about Harlequin reader services because they absolutely scammed me. There was a little cutout in the middle of the book that was a survey for free books, and I filled it out like a dumbass. They sent me some free books, but then I unknowingly subscribed to a reading service that I never paid for because fuck you, and I know what I'm about to do will be counterintuitive. But look, it's a little slot machine that you can scratch. You can win free books plus a free cuddly teddy bear. Well, I gotta see if I win the teddy bear. 3 sevens, then I get the cuddly teddy bear. Are you ready? Uh-oh. I got 3 sevens. Should I send this in? You think they'll send me a teddy bear? I know this is from the 90s, but you think they still have teddy bears to give away? I hate to ruin that sweet moment we shared together, but another problematic moment alert. Clint and Marina were at a restaurant going on a date, and there were some jingle writers at the restaurant that were constantly like rhyming and being a little bit obnoxious, but in a cute way. And Clint hates them so much, he jokes about himself, but in a very specific way. Can these books chill? Like, can I just enjoy my time here? Roses are red, and even though Clint is an ass, it's better than the last book I threw in the trash. It's a slant rhyme. I don't want to hear any of you in the comments being like, ass and trash don't rhyme, okay? It's about the delivery. After kissing him, this was said. She felt safe and very, very female. He was a boy, he kissed a girl, she's a girl 'cause she kissed a boy. And that's the Christiana T, I guess. Chapter 10 starts from John, the son's perspective, and he's just doing calculations trying to figure out if his mom fucked his principal. His mother wasn't exactly a quickie in the motel type. If she was going to have sex with anyone, she would have done it before this, when she was young. Let's see, almost 40 and 45, carry the old, account for menopause. John, why are you thinking about this, bud? John's at prom, so Clint and Marina are finally alone. Let's see how that's going for them. He felt good, all warm and male and solid. He was a boy, she was a girl, we will not let you forget. Are you ready for this? 4 pages later. She laughed softly, another female sound he liked. First of all, what is a female laugh?
I'm a girl.
Also, now I'm starting to suspect that the author is a little too into these words. And then they kissed. And then they Leviticus
18:22, female, male.
I would hold up both of the books at the end here, but I really did throw that one in the trash. Actually, the recycling, so hopefully those pages will be put to better use. But I really hope you enjoyed Butt Lovers. What did we learn? If anybody goes up to you saying, I lived in the wrong generation, immediately don't trust them. We're good. We're better than It's a good thing we moved on is all I'm saying. Bye!